Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Ball Not Court Podcast host Cortez Paul.
Along with my co-host Paul Mack.
I want to thank you folks for tuning in today and listening to the show. Basically, we cover basketball, football, NCAA, or anything that's related to current events with a humorous twist to it, at least. You can follow the podcast at BIOC Podcast at X or Twitter. We're also on Instagram at the same name, BIOC Podcast. You go to our YouTube channel, that's also BIOC Podcast. Our Facebook page is Balls Not Court Podcast. So if you could please just give us a like, shout, comment on any of those, and definitely subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we thank you for listening and enjoy the show. Balls Not Court Podcast. Thank you very much. Welcome to the Balls Not Court Podcast. Cortez Paul is here, joined by the usual and the ever so awesome Mr. Paul Mack. Happy evening to you, sir. How's it going?
Hey, man, we're back, bro. We took a little PTO last week, but I mean, not much was going on. It was an all-star break. Football's over, so
yeah, man,
We're back, bro.
Hey, it's all good. Decompress.
Every all-star deserves a break. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly, man. We work hard, man, and sometimes it's good for the two all-stars of the BLC podcast to just take a breath a little bit and enjoy these streets out here. I mean,
yes, sir.
The weather's been warm one day, it's been cold the other day, so I tell you. And now it's raining outside. It's been raining all day, so
I know, bro. My girlfriend and I are off on Sundays, and we're like, we're just going to have a nice day in. And it was a beautiful day yesterday. And then we had a bunch of stuff to do today, and it was raining all day. It was the worst, bro.
Dude, yeah. It's bipolar Florida weather that we live in. So it's all good, man. We make the best of it. We'll have, next month, daylight saving time is back on the horizon. So we'll be leaning more to now where it gets darker around 8 instead of 7. So, yeah, man. I don't know. Are you a guy that likes it to get dark quicker, or you like it to get dark later?
I mean, I enjoy the sun I tend to be up earlier. So, I tend to be up around 7:30. I like the sun to be up, not coming up and rising. And, when I get home from work at 7:30, I'm not doing anything, so I can care less about that extra daylight. You know what I mean? It doesn't affect me. I would basically just drive home in the while the sun's going down, which is fucking obnoxious.
Nah, I'm totally I like when it gets dark, around 6:30.
Yeah, bro.
It's cool when it's 8 and stuff like that, but I don't know, man. I enjoy this, man. So
Test on that demon time, bro.
Yeah, man. I'm a night owl at heart, man. So I enjoy when it gets dark. And
that's what I'm saying. If you want to go out, you got to wait longer, to go out. So you're going out later. I always feel bad. You have Disney annual passes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I always feel bad for people during daylight savings time that go to check out Avatar and it's not even dark when the park closes, so you don't even get to see it all lit up because the sun's out.
I know, and that's my favorite part about whenever it ends, because you go around 6 o'clock, it's beautiful. So now during the summer,
up and bioluminescent and stuff. Yeah, you can't see it. You can't see it half the year. Stupid.
Yeah,
waste of time.
Stupid. Yeah, definitely, man. All right, man. Let's get into it, man. So the NBA All-Star Game happened and came and gone. So a lot to dive into that. About the All-Star, the new format that they had changed where, they
they pretty much had 4 teams. The winner of the Rising Stars game was elevated to the All-Star game in that tournament, and so they went from there, and the winning score was going to 40. What's your thoughts about the new format?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I watched it. I watched it on Friday night. Is that when the first wave was?
That was the first wave for the.
So I watched it on Friday to see kind of what it was going to be like, and then just knowing how the NBA guys can be, I didn't even watch it on Sunday because I know none of them are going to take it. None of them are going to take it serious. They're going to shoot a bunch of threes. 40 points is not enough points. Like, it's going to go by so fast, and it's not really going to be a gauge of anything. I respect it. Like, I respect what they're trying to do, but I don't think it was going to be any more entertaining than just letting them score 200 points each. I feel like you get way more highlights that way if you just let them just play to 250 or something.
Yeah, I didn't mind the format. It was something that they tried. It was different. The only thing that kind of got on my nerves was the other theatrics about, the long commercials, and never had like a really flow. You had Kevin Hart was
too much Kevin Hart, way too much Kevin Hart.
Much Kevin Hart, man. And I just felt like it was just a clown show. And I get that this TNT's, that's their last NBA All-Star, them hosting the event. So there was a lot of, in between. And there was a point where, like, the last game that Shaq OG's and Chuck's Global Stars played, the scores are like 11-3 or something like that. And then they did like this whole spiel. I'm like, man, the game it's at 11. Why are we taking this intermission right now? So at the point, like, I know, like, the format, I mean, me personally, I think what I would do, Paul, I would change it to, and I said this on Twitter, that they should probably, instead of doing like the Rising Stars, why not have like 8 of the people that are snubbed? Like, can you imagine like a Trae Young and DeMontis Sabonis, Nick Vucevic, and Franz Wagner?
Well, Trae Young got in there because of
I'm just injury. But if he didn't, that's what I'm saying. Like, you have like the snub right there, and it's probably a little bit more. In my opinion, I thought it add a different element to it because, hey, these are the guys that's got snubbed, so they got something to prove.
I just don't think it. I think it's past a point of just being competitive. Like, most guys don't want to play. You know what I mean? They're gonna go. They're gonna whatever. But it was just a goofy show from the celebrity game. Like, once that celebrity game happened, I was like, oh, this weekend is just gonna be a walk. Like, started on Friday, I was like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna watch the 3-point contest because I love the 3-point contest. I didn't watch the dunk contest. I peeped on the skills challenge, and then when I saw what the Spurs did, I was like, you know what? You can't even do a skills challenge serious. Like, these guys are gonna just goof around and try to whatever. I'm like, no one cares, bro. Like, no one. The only way you make it exciting and entertaining is if it's just like first time All-Stars versus like, rising stars versus what, like, the future of the NBA, kind of like these young guys that want to play, like Jokic and LeBron and all these guys. Like, they don't care, bro. They're just there. They just want their vacation. I mean, the Lakers had it tough because they had a shorter break because they had to make up a game on Wednesday. But like, none of those guys want to play, bro. It just turns into just a circus. And like, I get it. I mean, it happened with the NFL. They pivoted, and like, I don't think they necessarily care who watches the Pro Bowl. It's just like, we're gonna turn into a clip show on YouTube. Like, they don't even really care. It's for the fans. The fans can come pay to go watch it, but like, I forget that it's even on. It's on there in the middle of the day. It's not even like a prime time event. Like, just do that, man. Like, just let it just live in pieces on the internet, because that's, at least then you can kind of see what you want to see, and you don't got to put yourself through watching all of it, because it's pretty hard to watch. Like, it's pretty tough. like every aspect of it except for Saturday night, which had plenty of highlights. But yeah, as far as the actual basketball, I enjoyed the Friday night games with the Rising Stars and the G League guys more than the highlights I saw of the actual NBA teams.
Yeah. What's your whole thoughts about LeBron sitting out and did it like hours before, like an hour before the game?
I mean, I get it. Like I said, they had a short break. He's got bigger things to worry about. He doesn't need to play in the All-Star game. He doesn't need to risk getting hurt in a 5-on-5 up to 40 points. Like, I mean, I know there was like a cash prize involved or whatever, but he don't need no money. He's good though. Whatever. I mean, he gets the fan vote. He could be the people's champ, whatever. But I mean, I'd sit out too. I wouldn't play.
I guess the thing that did is I don't mind him sitting out is the way he did it, because you do it before an hour before the game. You probably could have someone like a Domantas Sabonis or somebody that would have been there to play, at least at the first time All-Star. That would have probably appreciated a little more LeBron. I know LeBron been to about 18 All-Star games.
Yeah, he could have given his spot up. That's fair.
Yeah, he could have given his spot up. So that's the only thing I just didn't like, how the way he did it. And then, of course, for LeBron, it's all a show. Like, he took a picture with the team, not in jersey, just in his regular clothes. So it's just like, all right. So as you say, you probably saw that, and it's like, well, this is how this night gonna go, and it's just a whole big barbecue vibe with Kevin Hart joking around with Shaq talking about his height and Kenny's feet, and I'm just
it was more of like a last hurrah for the NBA on TNT. It was just those guys just running amok, and we're just way too much Charles, Kenny, Shaq, and Kevin Hart, and it was just whatever. I mean, so where do you go from here? I guess.
So someone has said too, and I'm wondering how relevant this is, that the TNT broadcast purposely taint the show and everything like that, and the game, just to get back at them from not with the whole contract agreement with Amazon. So I don't know how much that would stick. It's a funny little theory to kind of be like, did they really just taint this All-Star event and everything like that just because to get back at NBA and Amazon? I don't know, but it's conspiracy theories are out there.
I mean, just go back to just make it like USA versus the world, bro. Like, just do something like that. You know what I mean? Like, we don't gotta divvy up all these guys. Let's just take our 10, 12 best guys, grab the 10, 12 best international guys, and just showcase them. Like, whether that is older guys, whether that's younger guys, whatever it is, but like we know who the all-stars are. Like, we know who the guys are, but it's like I don't need to watch them play an exhibition against other guys who aren't going to try and play hard. It defeats the purpose. Like, the All-Star game is different than it was in the 2000s. So those guys legit tried to lock each other up a little bit. Like when you had the Cobes and all these guys that they took it kind of seriously. And these guys now, everybody's friends, everybody's hanging out, everybody's laughing, everybody's doing whatever. Trae Young is throwing the ball off people's backs, nutmegging through the legs, getting down court. Like, it's just, like, that would never happen like 10, 12 years ago in an All-Star game. Or if it did, it wouldn't. Like, it's just not a thing. Like, a play like that happens every year now. Someone throwing it off the backboard, some whatever. Let it go back to like when they all wear their individual team jerseys. Like, don't have a set jersey. Like, just let them just rep their team, whatever. Just I don't know. Just make it fun. But the games seem like they went too fast. Like 40 points for a professional basketball player isn't a lot of points.
Yeah, that game did went too fast. You had Kenny Young Stars lost to Chuck Global Stars 41-32. Shaq OGs won over Cannon's Rising Stars. That was a game that was quick as well, too. Shaq OGs won over Chuck Global Stars 41-25. At one point, it was like 11-3. That's where they did that whole intermission. So, yeah, but good enough said. Yeah, the fun part about this was Saturday was fun, though. I ain't going to lie. Besides that whole flounder with the Spurs, and I guess they asked, can they do that? That was crazy. But the three-point contest was fantastic, man. Like, Tyler Hero not win the three-point shooting contest. It was against Buddy Hield and Darius Garland. Buddy Hield went off in the first round. He had 31. He tied Curry's record in the first round. Hero barely advanced Damian Lillard, who was the last year champion. And so Darius Garland started off hot too. Like he ended off hot. My bad. He ended off hot. He had 8 on his last rack. It's basically accumulating 24 in the first round. So this is where it had the 3 that advanced was Tyler Hero, Darius Garland, and Buddy Hield. And so it was really between Darius Garland kind of got cold, so he just cooled off. So this really just became between Tyler Hero and Buddy Hield. And Buddy Hield just came out 1 short. And if he missed 2 out of his last 3, if he would have hit all 3 of those, he would have won by 1. So Tyler Hero ended up edging it by 1. What was your whole thoughts about that 3-point contest?
But that's I watched the 3-point contest, but like that's why All-Star Saturday Night, regardless of what people say about it, like people do get to showcase themselves. You know what I mean? Like to see those guys shoot or whatever, like everyone in that contest gets in that contest because they think they have a chance to win. Like it's not just someone just signs up to be funny. Like all those guys legitimately, it's not like in, back in the day when Allen Iverson did it and it was not good. He had like 8 or 9 points, but it's just like everyone that's in the 3-point contest, like legitimately has a chance. Like it's really hard to pick, and then like to see someone like a Tyler Hero, who's, he's having a hell of a season with Miami, to win something like that against these, prominent 3-point shooters. Cause like even living here, like I don't see any Heat games. Like, I don't really know how good Tyler Hero is. I know the stats he puts up and stuff like that. I know he can shoot, but just like seeing these guys showcased in a way where, it's just them, a basketball and a hoop, and just seeing them put it in the hole is why I'll always love All-Star Saturday Night. And it played out kind of the way we talked about it playing out. Like you were big on Buddy Hield, you were big on Darius Garland. Mm-hmm. Those were your 2 guys, and they made it pretty deep in there. I don't think either one of us thought Tyler Hero had a chance.
I didn't either.
But that's why it's so cool. That's why it's so fun to watch, because this guy is out there, All-Star Weekend, man, getting to showcase his skills. So
yeah, man,
shout out to Tyler Hero and shout out to the Heat, and it's just cool to see like the skills competition, whether with or without what the Spurs did. Like that's still just kind of a boring competition. It doesn't really add anything. I really think the NBA needs events like they had last year with like the Steph and Sabrina. Like I really think they need those. You do need your marquee people in these events. Like, and that's a big deal. So it'd be interesting to see what they do going forward. I think the WNBA collaborations and the things that they've done in the past, like they could see that really moves the needle for them, depending on, and especially having, the All-Star game in Golden State. You know what I mean? Like Sabrina's from there. Like you could, like, I know she just didn't want to do it, but you could have done something. Obviously there's that 3-on-3 league going on, so the WNBA is kind of occupied right now. But just see some fresh events, man. I don't need to watch professional basketball players throw bounce passes through tires and run around an obstacle course. Like it's not. It's like the NFL. Like the NFL does this weird like best catch thing where like they literally just like where they make them catch with like mascot hands on, and then they got to do like a diving catch onto like a thing. Like I don't need to see that, bro. Like I don't need to. I know you're a professional football player. I know you know how to catch, but like the best event is like the quarterback accuracy challenge. Like just watching these guys just throw balls at targets. Like
yeah,
that's all I need. I'm a simple guy. Like I don't need anything silly. And I think Adam Silver, he's savvy enough. He's in touch with kind of what's going on. It'll be interesting to see where the NBA goes, but it's All-Star Weekend, man. Like these guys got a long season.
Yeah.
Most of them don't play back-to-backs, and most of them are already load managing. And then you want them to participate in a weekend when they're supposed to have 5 days off. You want them to do something 2 or 3 days in between. Like most of them are not. They're zoned out, man. They're ready to just take a break.
Yeah, you had mentioned about the WNBA being involved, and I know Cleveland Clark turned down the event because she said she want to do her first All-Star event in WNBA, which is fair. And that's pretty cool on her that she's trying to help be a global ambassador for her league. And I think eventually next year, whenever she does her league and the 3-point contest and what that entails with WNBA, then I'm pretty sure she'll probably do this crossover. Eventually, I know the thing about Adam Silver, as much as we complain about the All-Star product and some of the products of the game and stuff like that, he's not scared to try to make change. So I do at least respect that about Adam Silver. He is going to try to be innovative. He's going to take chances. He's going to try to tinker a little bit. And that's what he's going to do, man. So we're just going to be seeing what he's going to do here. The dunk contest, I know a lot of people every year, man, you just don't know what you're going to get. But, you know, with Matt McClung trying to go for a three-peat, did you watch the highlights of that? What was your thoughts?
Yeah.
Stephon Castle, him and the Stephon Castle battle that they had.
Stephon Castle's impressive. Like, I know Mac came out the gate hot, but some of the dunks Castle had, like in the later rounds, like it was closer than I think people probably thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Like Castle's really athletic. I saw a meme that said that Mac McClung is basically Mariah Carey. Like he just shows up once a year, does a job, and then just disappears. Like that's his whole thing. So, I mean, good for Mac. I think he was out at Raising Cane's like 2 days later.
Yep. They had his advertisement when I was going down here on the road to Kissimmee. I'm like, oh, there it is. Congratulations, 3-time champ Matt McClung.
But, you know, guys made more money in the NBA dunk contest than in his entire NBA career. So get your money, bro.
I am super excited for Matt McClung. I know there's another meme I saw about the dog in the airport. You take him out of the neck and the NBA or the Magic sent Matt McClung back to the G League after the slam dunk contest. Kind of messed up. But here's the thing that I was watching the dunk contest. Obviously, with Eve, I'm like, hey, Matt McClung, he's got Magic gear on. He's representing the Magic in some sort of fashion, the G League team. And I watched the first dunk. I'm like, man, he did something similar to Aaron Gordon, where he did like the stuffed mascot of the car. And all the dunks are advancing. And I'm like, he's paying homage to Aaron Gordon. And so when he did the hover bump dunk and had the guy on the ladder and he dunked with 2 balls and the guy spinning around, I went crazy. I'm not gonna lie, I'm yelling. I'm like, yo, that's crazy. Yo, he's paying homage to Aaron Gordon. Yo, let's go Magic. So I'm just going nuts because, like, we know Aaron Gordon got snubbed years ago.
Yeah, I posted that the other day, actually. I said that 2 of the biggest inside jobs in American history is the assassination of JFK and Aaron Gordon losing that dunk contest to Zach LaVine. Like, there ain't no way, bro. Like, there is no way. Like, that's crazy, dude. Like, it's nuts. And, like, what's funny is, like, that ruined Aaron Gordon forever. Like, yeah. Like, he did it twice. He got screwed twice. And then he's just like, you know what? I ain't doing this no more. And then he just kind of never was the same player. Like, he just never was as explosive. He found a nice little role in Denver, but it's just like,
I forever hate the NBA. The little joy of my team, the Orlando Magic, who was beyond horrendous that year. We was in the gutter. Aaron Gordon was our savior, our dunk contest. A little sunshine on that crap-tastic team that I had to watch. The Orlando Magic was horrible that year. And Aaron Gordon, those 2 years that he went to the dunk contest, didn't win one. Bruh, I mean, bruh, it wasn't just me, but it was me and other Magic fans was just, oh man, back to watching this and depressed, bro. Like it was depressing, man, because it was like, this is our only moment to shine here. This is our only moment that we have Orlando on the map here, and we get screwed.
And it's kind of never been the same since, because even then, like, you had Aaron Gordon, Zach LaVine, like, you had these, like, young, up-and-coming, like, high-flying guys, and, like, you look at, like, this year's dunk contest, and it was, like, 2 bigs who, sure, they could jump, but they're not going to do anything crazy, and then Stephon Castle and Mac McClung. One guy's not even in the NBA. Like, that's what the dunk contest has become because these guys don't want to do it.
Yeah. I did love, though, and I don't know. They do this every year, Paul, but you see like Ja and Giannis and Aaron Gordon tweeting like, oh, we might have to run. Hey, we might have to run this. What's up? And Zach LaVine like, I got some stuff in my bag. They always do this every year when that's a good dunk contest. But it's gonna fizzle out, and they won't do it, and they'll be back to. But I think Matt will come back if these other Ja and Giannis and AG and Zach LaVine come in. But if they don't come, I don't blame Matt. Just stay put. You won 3 times. You can't let somebody else try to win it. And say the dunk contest, which is probably gonna be horrible for the next 3 years if any's Matt McClown or any of these other guys not in it. So, all right, enough for NBA All-Star Weekend. We kind of ran about that for 25 minutes. We can be done with that. So, let's talk about the top 2 teams in the East and the West. Cleveland is surging right now. OKC is 9-1 their last 10 games. What's your thoughts about these 2 teams right now?
I mean, we knew what to expect from OKC. Like, I'm not necessarily completely shocked. I mean, I know like they've been without Chet Holmgren, but like you got Isaiah Hartenstein, so like you added like a big defensive presence to that team. But they're just picking up where they left off, man. They have all the chemistry. Those guys have been together the last few years. Like Shea is just otherworldly right now, and they're just putting it to everybody. Like I know this firsthand because they've put it to the Knicks a couple times this year already, and you know they're really good. Like as good as the Western Conference is, like they almost seem just miles above everybody else, which is crazy because like typically like in the East you have 2 or 3 really good teams, and then like from like 4 down is just like a log jam of teams that are like pretty good. They're like a few wins around that you can really kind of shuffle it around. But like OKC, man, is just the way they play defense, the way they score. It's impressive to watch because I don't know who can beat them in 7 games if they're playing how they're playing right now. That's the thing. They're young. That's the most dangerous part is they don't have any real like age on their team. So if a series had to go 6-7 games, like those guys would be fine. I think the playoff run they had last year really helped them out and motivated them. I don't see them doing the stupid dog barking shit they were doing last year anymore. They're taking things a lot more seriously. I think they know now that they're a legitimate contender for an NBA title. So, just huge shout out to OKC, man, because they are the cream of the crop right now.
Let me add to OKC, just like I mentioned, they're 9-1 their last 10 games, and they're being the team they're supposed to. Like, they smacked the Kings by 34. They beat the Suns by 31. They beat the Pelicans by 36.
You're talking about a bad team, bro. Phoenix is a fucking bad team, bro.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Phoenix, man. But they're scoring the bunches. In those 3 games I just mentioned, 144 points, 140, 137 in some of these victories. They're 9th in field goal percentage, shooting at 47%. On the flip side, defensively, the whole team's the 43%, which is first in defensive field goal percentage. As you mentioned, Shai and Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren is back. I know he's been getting back into the rotation. So now you got him and Hartenstein being in that rotation from that big man and being the defensive presence. They just got great pieces, man. And like you said, they rightfully so should be the favorites. They just are deep. They play well. They led by a superstar and top 2 MVP candidate. The 2 games that I got with the Thunder that I'm watching, March 9, March 10th, they got the Nuggets and a back-to-back at home. This is the only series I think, well, I'm just talking about just from this season right now, that SGA is not the best player on the court. So I want to see how they're going to play against the Nuggets because eventually this is probably going to be a matchup that they play in the postseason. And it's hard to say, you got the best team, but you don't have the best player. So I'm interested to see how this matchup is going to go between these two teams. And if it's a precursor to what we want to see, possibly a Western Conference Finals matchup. So I'm wanting to see how this is going to be happening. I know on the Nuggets side, they're streaking. They're looking great right now as well. But they're very thin on the bench. So you got these, as Paul mentioned, these young lads, these young guys that go up and down, move at a quick pace. Like I said, they're putting up 120-some points, man. So like that's tough to defend. And I just wonder how they're gonna look and how they're gonna respond to the Nuggets, which they got at home. So that's gonna be a fun matchup too. What's the flip side? What do you think about the Cavs?
They just beat the Knicks by 40. So I don't know if that says more about the Cavs or more about the Knicks, because the Knicks are like 0-7 against Cleveland, Boston, and OKC. Giving up like 125 a game. I mean, it's not looking too bright against the good teams. But Cleveland is just, again, a well-coached team. Got guys that have been playing together. The emergence of Darius Garland, like from the jump he's made from last year to this year, with Evan Mobley, Jared Allen. I mean, it's pretty much those four guys, and then they do have a really good bench as well, and then they play defense. Like they're an old school kind of team. Like they're going to lock you down on defense. They're going to force turnovers, and that's their game. They're not just going to come out and try to outscore you. I mean, they probably could if they wanted to, but the way that they play is so much different than some of these other teams. Like they're gonna win by 40 because they only gave up 85 points. You know what I mean? That's the difference. They're not gonna win 140 to 120. Like it's not gonna happen. They're gonna hold you to 100 or under, and they're gonna have a lot of turnovers, a lot of fast break opportunities, a lot of rebounds. They're a great rebounding team. All kind of the markers that like really good teams have. Like those are kind of the things where when you look at the really, really good teams, they usually win in turnover differential. They usually win in rebounds. They usually win in, fast break points. They're getting the loose balls, second chance points, those kind of things. And that's just the way Cleveland plays. And, it'll be interesting to see kind of as the season goes on with Boston, because like for the last like 2 weeks leading up into the All-Star break, I feel like Boston either won by double digits or they lost by double digits. Like Boston is a really inconsistent team at times, and I think it has to do with how they play. They shoot a lot of threes. You live and die by the three. If they're making them, they're going to beat you by 20. And if they're not making them, they're going to potentially lose by 15. So it's just it's a really weird dynamic with the Celtics, because when they're on, I don't know who could beat them. But when you see how Cleveland plays, Cleveland seems to kind of, and it was like in the off season, like with some of these moves and some of the things we've said, like it seemed like a lot of teams were just gearing up their roster for the Celtics. Like we need to make sure our team can handle Boston. And then you have a team like Cleveland. They got lengthy wings. They can get in the passing lanes. They're really good at rebounding. And those are the things you need to beat the Boston Celtics. They're going to get up a lot of shots. There's going to be a lot of rebounds, a lot of long rebounds. They got Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum on the outside, so you need lengthy wings to guard those guys. So, it'll be interesting to see how it all rolls out. But, I mean, Cleveland's playing just a brand of basketball that doesn't really take nights off. And that's the scary part is Boston, some nights they're on, some nights they're off. And with Cleveland, the way that they play is they're just on. You know what I mean? Whether if they're struggling offensively, crank up the defense. And that's just, they're always in games. So it's really hard to ignore them now. I know early on it's like, oh, but Cleveland's 13-14-0. Like, uh-oh. But they've kept it going through the All-Star break now. We're in the second half of the season. Mm-hmm. So you got to start kind of recognizing Cleveland now.
Yeah, Cleveland is something to be reckoned with. They 12 wins out of their last 17 games. Now, they did lose the Boston in this span, and they turned around and they did beat the Knicks pretty good. So these are the top.
Pretty good, yeah. Pretty good, yeah.
So the reason I mention that because Boston and the Knicks are the top three seeds in the East. So you got a barometer that you got to measure yourself against, and that's what Cleveland is doing. Like, this is who they measure themselves against us as well, OKC. So yeah, I mean, now they're going to this 7-game winning streak, and they're coming to Orlando. I'm not looking forward to that, but no, this is a team that is clicking on all cylinders. This Cleveland Cavaliers, they are first in the league in points per game and offensive rating. Their points per game is 122. Along with offensive rating, 122. That's insane. Like, this is a team that basically is the same, besides a trade deadline where they added DeAndre Hunter, which is a great pickup for them, by the way.
Huge.
That's someone, and that's, as you mentioned, Paul, they have made moves to compete with the Boston Celtics. You make a move to get DeAndre Hunter so he can guard Jaylen Brown or he can guard Jason Tatum. So you got another wing player that you can throw at somebody that's got defensive versatility that can guard these two guys.
I mean, he could probably guard Porzingis on the perimeter. You know what I mean? He's long.
And it was a huge pickup in their span. So this team also as well, they are the top 3-point percentage-wise team in the league. They make 39% of them on 41 attempts. So as you mentioned, DG, they got Dean Wade that can shoot. They got who's the other?
Max Strus.
There's another guy I'm missing too. There's
Sam Merrill.
Thank you, Sam Merrill. That's a flamethrower. Like, they got shooters for days.
Evan Mobley's picked up his 3-point shooting as well. I mean, he's knocking down corner threes. Yeah,
and you give Donovan Mitchell driving lanes, so you can shoot this efficient, and you got someone like Donovan Mitchell that can get to the rim at will, and he can also shoot. Oh, okay. So good luck. The game I'm looking forward, though, that's going to tell me a lot again about this Cleveland Cavaliers. They got to play Boston again on the 28th at the end of the month. Now, they're 1-1 against Boston, but the first game they played Boston, or the second game, they was missing Brown and missing White in a nail-biter in December. I believe White and Brown, at least anything health-wise, should be available for that game. Can't predict a week all the way up to, but you'll think they'll be available. That's going to be a lot because Cleveland has beaten all these teams except Boston. So it makes you wonder, like, hey, Cleveland's doing this miraculous run. What's going to happen when you play them again? And then this is probably the team you got to go through. Even if they're going to have a home court advantage, it looked like you're going to have home court advantage this way because Boston's not catching you. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Cavs match up and see what kind of bounce back they're going to have against the Boston Celtics, because these two are the class of the East. So it's going to be fun to watch, see how that's going to go. So
it's interesting because, like, aside from, adding a DeAndre Hunter at the trade deadline, they're essentially the same team that they were last year.
Mm-hmm.
And, knowing how, your Magic kind of gave them fits in the postseason.
Yeah. Like
how they did it. Like, if the Magic were able to shoot, they win that series.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it feels like that's maybe the Achilles heel to Cleveland is if they play someone who can shoot as good as them or just can get up more shots than them, like a Boston, because Boston's going to shoot 63 pointers. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing is as good as they are, as good as they can be defensively and as good as they can rebound, you can get shots up on them. It's just like, that's the thing is they're shooting at such a high clip on their end that seems like a team would have to shoot similarly. And Boston is probably the only team that can do that in the Eastern Conference. So that's why I think that matchup is so interesting, because, like, Boston can come out and knock down 33s in one game. You know what I'm saying? And, like, knowing that Cleveland is only shooting 40 of them, like, even at 39%, that's a crazy clip. You know what I mean? Like 39% is you're making 15, 16 threes a game, 18 threes a game, whatever it is. Like,
Yeah.
that's a lot of threes, but like Boston is going to try to make 20 threes a game. And that's the craziest part is what do you do when you have Tatum kicking it out, and if Derek White's on, if Jaylen Brown's hitting it, like it's the same kind of blueprint. Like the Magic just couldn't hit from the outside. There was a lot of those games, you know, if they were able to knock down 2 or 3 threes, it's a whole different series. So yeah. I just think the thing is, as crazy as everybody talks about 3-point shooting is in the league, when you're playing a team like Cleveland, like you got to take those shots. Like you have to just try to outshoot them. And I don't know a team aside from Boston that's going to accept the challenge and potentially like be like, all right, say less. Well, they shoot 40 threes a game. All right, we're going to shoot 55 threes and see what happens.
Which Boston does around that amount. They do shoot like around 53s. And I'm going to ask you this question, Paul, because I feel like Cleveland's in the same situation as OKC. Yeah, at the point, yeah, like I mentioned about SGA and Joker. Donovan Mitchell versus Jason Tatum. A lot of people are probably going to pick Jason Tatum as the best player. So at the point, yeah, you're the number 1 seed, but do you have the best player on the court? And I guess I'll say it this way. Maybe it's close. This is what I'm trying to debate here. Is it really? I'm trying to figure out how close is the gap between Mitchell and Tatum versus SGA and Joker. So at any point in time, Tatum can go nuclear. He can go off. This dude can go make 3 or 4 shots in a row. Donovan Mitchell can do the same thing. But then are we looking at from an aspect of it? Then you look at, okay, Brown versus DG. I mean, this is all subjective. I'm probably gonna lean towards Jaylen Brown.
Well, that's the interesting part though, is the way things are going right now with the season that Cleveland is having. Darius Garland might be the best player on that team.
Like, very true.
Like he's the guy. Like obviously Donovan Mitchell can score in bunches and he can make things happen. But the way Darius Garland has grown as a perimeter shooter, the way he is on defense with steals, the way he's the primary ball handler. So like I feel like the gap between him and Donovan Mitchell has gotten smaller. Like he is coming to the point where this is going to be potentially his team because we don't really know what the future holds for Donovan Mitchell anyways. So like that's the bigger question is who's more important to the Cleveland Cavaliers' success? Is it Darius Garland? Is it Donovan Mitchell? Like the thing with Jason Tatum is there's times where he just seems completely disinterested on the court. Like he'll just stand at the top of the key, stand there, and then he'll get the ball, and then he'll dribble around. He'll try to pass whatever. But Tatum's filling the stat sheet every night. He's doing kind of what Jokic is doing, where he might only score 22, but he's going to have 7-8 assists and 8 or 9 rebounds. Mm-hmm. Like he's impacting the game all over the court, and which is crazy because like there are literally lulls in his offense. There are literal times where he is just non-existent offensively, and he kind of defers to Jaylen Brown or Derek White if Derek White gets going or if Porzingis gets going, and like the fact that he's cool with it, like he's just like I'll just sit back, that's fine. I'll get mine when it's time to get mine.
Yeah,
kind of is the impressive part because like the offense, like with Denver. Like that offense runs through Nikola Jokic. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like he's their primary passer. He's their primary rebounder. He's their primary scorer. Like he has to do all 3 for Denver to have a chance. And I think that's the difference is if Jokic can score 30, but if he only has 6 assists and 8 rebounds, like they're probably going to lose because he's not getting the other guys involved. So it's like it's just a different dynamic. But Tatum, I'm the biggest I bet against Tatum as much as I possibly can because I just know how he is. But there's times, man, like he may not blow up the stat sheet, but he fills it up, and he gets guys wide open looks, and he knows his role in that offense. And the Celtics wouldn't be as good as they are without him. That's 100% sure.
Yeah.
But when those two teams are playing each other, like you have to think that the Brown Tatum duo is better than the Garland Mitchell duo, which at that point then it comes to the rest of the team, and at that point it just what kind of night is Boston having? Because that's really the deciding factor. Like, are they hitting shots? Like, is Peyton Pritchard coming in and is he lighting it up? Is Derek White, knocking down corner threes? Like, what is Porzingis making an impact? So it's like those are all kind of the things that Boston needs. Like, they could have Tatum and Brown go off, but if those other guys don't show up, or if you're locking down those other guys, like, you have a chance.
And that's the good. I'm glad you brought that point, because now I feel like, okay, so you brought Andre Hunter, he's probably gonna guard Tatum. Then you look at Drew Holiday, he's probably gonna guard Donovan Mitchell. So which one of your B guys going to take off? It's got to be Brown versus Garland. And you mentioned Garland's pretty much a guy that's kind of ascending right now. So is Garland going to be the guy to win them a series? Because this is going to be, as we projecting, a possible Eastern Conference matchup between these two teams. Which B player, Warren B, is going to step up? Because now you got the best perimeter defender on your guy. Which one of these B guys, and Garland or Brown, is going to step up and get them a series win here? And this is me just projecting. I'm not, listen, anything can happen. Knicks can probably catch fire. Like Indiana's still not to be overlooked. So, like, I'm just saying, these are the two favorites right now. Penn, these are the two favorites right now. Hypothetically, where we're looking at as far as the Bs, it'd be a good question to see what's going to happen there. So, it's on the pounder when we get to the postseason and stuff like that. Paul, talk to me about your Knicks. I know you probably won't talk much about them, but what's your quick kind of analysis?
We're number 3 in the East. We're still a little beat up. I mean, Josh Hart finally came back. He missed a few games. We're still waiting on Mitchell Robinson, but same song and dance. Guys are just playing way too many minutes. Bench is not good. And they're not the same team they were last year. They're not playing the defense they were last year. They're giving up a lot of points, and I just don't think they have the offensive firepower. Even adding a Mikal Bridges, I'm like, he's had some good games, but that team last year predicated themselves on defense. They were dogs. Like, they were a much more aggressive defensive team, and I don't know if that was personnel or what. Losing a Dante DiVincenzo, those kind of things. But, we could beat all the mediocre teams we want. If we can't beat the top tier teams in the league, none of it matters. And we get run out of the gym every time we play Boston, OKC, or Cleveland. Like, not even close. And, I don't know how you write that. The trade deadline's over. We didn't make any moves. Our bench still stinks. Our starters are still playing damn near 40 minutes a game. We're same song and dance, bro. Same Tom Thibodeau, New York Knicks.
What's up with them putting Cat back in the game? We had like a calf, eye injury? Like, he went him to the bench and they put him back in the game. Didn't like that.
If he could breathe, bro, he's gonna go out there. That's it. He gotta get those minutes in, dude. We can't take him out. Like, we don't have a replacement until Mitchell Robinson comes back. I mean, so they're in the best worst spot a team could probably be, because they could probably finish the season out in the 3 seed, depending on how hot another team gets, because like they are gonna beat lesser teams and teams that are on their level. just because of the talent on that team.
Yeah.
But, they're not going to drop. They're not going to fall. So they're going to sit there around 3 or 4. And, they'll have to, get to the playoffs and play against a really good team. And then it's going to be the same song and dance, bro. They're just going to get burnt out. Jalen Brunson's going to have way too many miles on him. Towns going to have way too many miles on him. And it's going to get ugly fast.
I got you. My Magic, we got our stars back, but it's been pretty rough, man. They did handle business last night against the Wizards. For the first half, it was a little bit stressful, but second half they kind of had like a 34-point third quarter, and they just took off. So they're in the midst of a 7-game homestand. So what bodes well for Orlando? The last 3 seasons, they have had like a .523 winning percentage. I saw this is anything from David Steele on the telecast. And usually they do well after the All-Star break the past 3 seasons. So Franz playing well, like 25 points per game on 46% shooting. Still that 3%. That 3-point shot is still, but he's still probably one of our better shooters on the team. 5 rebounds, 5 assists per game. Suggs is still out with a hamstring injury. I'm slightly irritated with the Magic medical staff. There's been conflicting reports about, he was close to playing and now he's not close to playing. So at some point, it's just, at the end of the day, the communication part of it to media and fans is the part that irritates me. Suggs, take all the time you need to heal. That's all that matters. Don't rush back if you need to. If it was up to Jalen Suggs, he'll play 2 weeks ago. So get time to heal. Fans, including myself, is just really over Gary Harris and KCP, man.
My dog Gary Harris, bro.
Gary Harris, who I nicknamed PTO, paid time off. Boy got all the suits on the sidelines, look crispy, got the diamond bling shoes on, got the minks on. You know what I'm saying? His wrist is crispy, but can't shoot for shit, bro. He is 32% from 3-point line. And KCP, who I'm still trying to give the benefit of the doubt, but it's not looking good, man. He leads. I think he's second or third in the NBA in technical fouls, so which is stunning. I don't know how that's going on, but Cole Anthony, man, shout out to him. Yeah, let's try to get over that quickly, man. But Cole Anthony looks pretty good. Over his last 10 games, he's got 14 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. And a couple of these games, he had 23 against Utah and 26 against Golden State. Cole is has found a role. He got back into it. He got consistent playing time. He's been starting. So me personally, if it was up to me, when Suggs come back, I'm starting Cole and Suggs. And then KCP, figure it out bench till you're ready to start back in the game, bro. Because like right now, Cole is kind of getting to the rim. He's finding passes. He's making timely shots. He's defending pretty well for his size. And like sometimes with guards, man, it just takes time with guards, man. I'm not saying I expect Cole to be this superstar player. I still expect Cole to be a productive player. Just seeing some of the skill sets that he has. Now, he does do some boneheaded stuff at times, but sometimes Cole has a light bulb on his head that kind of clicks sometimes. So you just got to be patient with guards. But there's been a lot of chatter about Paolo, kind of like his stats that are like pretty much getting criticized, and a lot of these analytics are getting hit right there. But only I can say, man, listen, the guy is trying to come back, had battled a core injury, and he's coming in the middle of the NBA season. So I'm kind of like being lenient on Paolo. Now, the thing I want Paolo to do more of is not take all these damn threes and use his 6'10" frame, 7'5" power body, and get to the rim. And even that, be as a roll man, set pick and pops. Like, take the mid range. I don't want you taking 9 threes a game. It's not your game, man. Like, to me, you're so physical, man, and you can wear down people. And let Franz at this point, I want Franz to lead the offense until Paulo figure it out. Franz need to lead the offense. That's how I'm going right now. Franz need to lead the offense. He's been the one that's been cooking. He's been the one that's been kind of leading us. And that's kind of where I'm at. But we're missing Suggs and Mo. Like, their energy, I never thought – I underestimated Suggs' energy, man. Like, his energy is contagious. The way he defends is reckless at times. But, man, Orlando is missing Jalen Suggs for sure. And I'm hoping that my goal is to get to the 6 play-in game. That'll put a match between the Knicks and the Magic, the 3 and 6 possibly. Detroit is playing very well. Can't discredit them. Heat, ever since they trade Jimmy Butler, they're 1-5. And the Warriors are 5-1 since they had Jimmy Butler. So the Heat are slumping at the wrong time. They're playing the Hawks right now. And I'm kind of been watching the Clippers and the Pistons game on NBA League Pass here. So I'm watching all these games with like a keen interest, Paul.
Yeah, man, a lot going on. There's a lot, especially if you're in the Eastern Conference, because there's a lot of teams. Like Detroit's playing really well. Indiana's kind of figuring it out. Yeah. Like there's a lot still to be played out in the Eastern Conference. And like really the only story out west is like how good are the Lakers now that they got Luka? Like where are they gonna where can they finish? Where can they end up? Because the other night was the first night we kind of saw like vintage Luka Doncic. And Lakers look really good. So it's like can they keep that going? Obviously that's the big headline around the league still is that trade. Still talking about that trade and the impact Luka's going to have for the Lakers season. But the storylines in the East are really good. And there's just a lot of teams that are kind of making runs and making pushes that you can't help but kind of watch and see where they're at. I mean, right now, Detroit's beating the Clippers. Remember? Yeah. So it's like it's hard not to root for Detroit. They've been bad for so long. They've kind of built their team up in the draft. They had, Jaden Ivey went down early in the season. He was a big spot for them, but the emergence of Cade Cunningham and these other guys, like having a veteran guy like a Malik Beasley come off your bench, it's fun to watch. And then you have teams like the Pacers. They can get hot at any time.
The stores in NBA right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So the East more than the West. I think the West is more so a big thing of disappointment. You have a lot of teams that we thought would be good that aren't. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of the difference is like the bad teams in the East have gotten better. And the teams who we thought would be really good in the West have kind of fallen to like that middle to bottom tier of the rankings. And it's just weird. It's just weird to see.
Absolutely. All right. I'm going to knock out 3 of these segments. We just going to go with Warren, and then we'll go to Who's Invited to the Barbecue and Paul, this guy's stank segment here. But the one I want to talk about is, which I'm pretty sure, Paul's going to smile at the downfall here, but Joel Embiid and the 76ers fiasco right now. Joel Embiid reported that he's going to get a second opinion on his knee, his left knee. Torn meniscus again. He got surgery on it last year, but then he went through surgery and came back for Philly's playoff run. He did come and help the USA team to win gold. This season so far, he only played 19 out of 56 games. Philly is currently on a 7-game losing streak. They out of the play-in bracket, and Joel Embiid contract is ridiculous. So right now he's getting paid $51 million. And then eventually he's got a player option in 28-29 that goes up to $67 million. What is to make of this Joel Embiid and this Philly fiasco? Which right now they're getting smacked by the Bulls.
Fuck the process, bro. The process ain't working. And they should have realized. I mean, obviously, you didn't know that before he signed the big contract. But then you bring in a Tyrese Maxey, who is clearly the future of your franchise. That's the guy you're going to want to build your franchise around. But at the same time, by having, Joel Embiid doing what Joel Embiid's doing and your team just continually disappointing and falling out of the playoffs, like how long is Maxey going to want to stick around? Like you could potentially lose a Tyrese Maxey because you went all in on Joel Embiid. And obviously you bring in Paul George. Paul George ain't doing it either. You know what I mean? Like it's rough, and you know, no one dislikes Philly more than me, but you know, it's a shame because like when Joel Embiid is healthy and locked in, he is dominant.
He's a monster, bro.
Like as good as he's like Nikola Jokic level, like game changing. Like you cannot stop him, no matter what you do. But he's just not that guy anymore. He can't stay healthy. Something's always going on with him. You just question his heart at this point. Like I don't even think he wants to play anymore. I don't think he's got the dog in him anymore to just go out day in, day out and you know, deal with the crowd in Philly. You know, I think he's going to look at it and think about all he's done for that franchise, which on paper isn't a whole lot. You know what I mean? He got some MVPs, he got some All-Stars, he got some whatever, but it's like never got him a championship.
Never got to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Never got to the Eastern Conference Finals. Like what did you do aside from being one of the most dominant bigs we've seen in the modern era of basketball? Like what have you done? And at some point, Philly's going to have to figure it out because that's an ugly contract to be tied to for that many more years. Knowing what you're getting out of it, like the return on investment is not great. Yeah, man, it sucks. I mean, you feel that for any sports franchise, you know, like it sucks, and you know, it sucks that someone like that has to deal with all those injuries. But like, that's going to happen to big guys. Like their knees are going to be the first thing that goes, or their feet. And you know, what are you going to do?
I feel like with Joel Embiid, like I know we mess with Luka and Zion being overweight, but him being overweight doesn't get talked about as much. Even his MVP years, I feel like he was a little bit overweight, and we just because you know he's just so dominant and he's doing things as far as midst of his MVP season that we just didn't talk about his weight, man. And at time he throws his body on the ground a lot, doing a lot of welling and flopping. That didn't really help his case as well. Most dominant big man, you know, besides Joker, man. And it's crazy that this guy just couldn't stay healthy. But you look at the makeup of their team, this is a team that had pieces. And at one point, man, we was talking about Philly as a 3 seed. You know, they had Paul George, they had Tyrese Maxey, you know, Joel Embiid when he's healthy. Like Philly should have been a top 3 team, top 4 team. They should have been up there, but they just can't stay healthy. So now they're out on the play-in, and this atrocious contract now. And I'm saying it's atrocious because of Joel Embiid's health, not Joel Embiid's talent. It's because of his health. Joel Embiid is talented. He just can't stay healthy. So that's why this contract is atrocious. So I want nobody coming at me talking about, oh, Joel Embiid. No, it's his health, man. And I just feel for him, you know, because, you know, does he want to play? Did Paul George at one point, this is a team that he chose, that he want to play? You know, hey, he's living life, but he's in Cabo sucking on his wife's tits. Got a picture of it.
Well, the worst part too for Philly is they owe a pick, I think, to OKC. So even if they tank right now, if they're just like, you know what, shut it down, they don't even get a lottery pick. It's going to go to the Thunder.
It's bad. It's bad, man. It's bad.
Like Joel Embiid has set them back so much. The process has set them back so much.
And who wants him? Like, you know, he can't stay healthy. We know he is healthy. Yeah. Like, who wants him for that contract? Like, who's taking a chance on Joel Embiid? And that's all it is. It's because of health. If the dude was healthy, and there's 28 teams out of trade for this dude. He's not healthy.
Oh, 100%. But knowing the health and knowing all of the baggage at this point that comes with him, like, what do you get for him? Like, what's the Joel Embiid package? You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't even know.
Yeah, it's one of those that is a milling team that want to take him and take a chance, but it's a big risk. It's really a big risk, man. So I don't know what GM is touching that contract with his help. So
you know what it is? It's because Philly got rid of Tobias Harris, bro. Tobias Harris. Look at Detroit right now.
Look at Detroit. Sis and knees. Hey, how the turntables, right?
That's it, bro.
As the great Michael Scott would say, how the turntable. Right. So let's go into who's invited to the barbecue. What player are you inviting to the barbecue?
I haven't even really seen much. We had the All-Star break. Yeah, you go first. Go ahead.
Okay. And you just think of, and if you ain't got one, but I know you got this guy's Stank segment, we'll just go for that. All right, man. Listen, I know at one point this guy was on this guy's Stank segment, and you know what? He has got his team winning very well. He's been a catalyst to this. This guy coming out the All-Star break, he's got 51 points and 21 assists and with 2 turnovers. This is against top 8 defensive teams against the Grizzlies and the Clippers that they played against after the All-Star break. He led this team to where they're scoring 125.5 points possessions, scoring-wise. This team is also 14-7 versus the Western Conference, which is second in the East. The Pacers got a 16-5 record since January 1st. Only Thunder is better. Tyrese Halliburton has been balling his ass off, yo. I gotta show him some love because we was on this man. Where was he at the beginning of the season? Couldn't find his man. Like his shot was broken. Like his company was talking about. What we talking about was he on a insanity run because of last year during the whole NBA Cup and the way that he had the Pacers got looking and they was in the finals, Eastern Conference Finals. So what was up with this Pacers team and what was up with Tyrese Halliburton? Because this is their catalyst. This is their guy. But he's playing well right now, man. So shout out to Tyrese Halliburton, man. This dude is playing very, very, very well. God showing some love. So what I'm going to cook for the dude. So listen, Tyrese like the snows, man. He like the snow.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty sure, if I'm cooking, he gonna bring some snows over. So I gotta cater this to Tyrese liking. So I'll make sure I get some steak on the grill, probably medium rare, because I know the white folks like to have pink in their meat. Not me. My shit's gotta be well done. I know. It died. I want my meat dead, bro. Sorry. But I will get a steak for him and the Snows and make it medium well with some A1 sauce. Make sure I put some Worcestershire sauce. Make sure I go ahead and sauce it up a little bit. Probably get some potatoes with some rosemary and kind of thyme season on it. Put it in the oven and kind of air fry them a little bit of salt and pepper. A little bit corn on the cob. Because I already know, man, he's going to have some over. So, over there, I'm going to make sure I have some seltzer on ice. We'll probably go with some high noons. Probably, once again, he's hanging around the Snows, the white girls. So make sure I have some tequila or some vodka. And we in there, man. But no, shout out to Tyrese Halliburton. He's been playing well. So I'm going to see how this Patriot team is going to finish the season. So
you see Tim Hardaway ain't a fan of Tyrese Halliburton.
No, he's not. Tim Hardaway's been on a hate tour.
He has been on a hate tour.
Butler, he's been talking about everybody, bro. Tim Hardaway.
He said he wants to bust Tyrese Halliburton's ass, bro.
Bro, listen, he's been on one. He don't like how the Dallas Mavericks treat his son, so he's probably laughing about Luka got traded. So Tim Hardaway's on a hate mission right now. It is what it is.
All right. I mean, I guess if I got to invite somebody to a barbecue for the last, week or so, a few days, I guess I'll ride with the whole planet and just invite Luka Doncic. The other night versus the Denver Nuggets, he had 32 points, 7 assists, 10 rebounds in 31 minutes. So, Luka has advertised. I know JJ Redick basically told him I need Dallas Luka. I need the guy that just out there yelling for no reason, just being a menace. and looks like Luka's gonna be okay out there with the Lakers. And you hate to see it because of how they got him and all that happened, but shout out Luka Doncic because it seems like he's healthy, and that's going to cause some problems. I mean, beating Denver by 20 and putting up numbers like that is a huge win, especially coming off the All-Star break. I think that was off a back-to-back too. They played Wednesday and Thursday.
Yeah,
so that was the second leg of a back-to-back. I don't think he played the first game anyway, so I think he took off Wednesday. But either way, I mean that's huge to see because everybody's obviously worried about his conditioning and everything else. But it seems like Luka's going to be all right. So it's going to be trouble for everybody else. And yeah, man, just Luka Doncic. We got to keep him healthy, so I'll probably just give him a house salad, some finger food, some appetizers. He doesn't want some pig in a blanket, something light because he's gonna have LeBron on his ass, and I'm gonna have LeBron on me if I'm out here feeding him. And then I'd offer him something to drink, but Michael Finley will just come take it away from him. So it's fine. He can just have a water.
Hey, right. Question: Is Kim K also invited to the barbecue? Kim Kardashian? I know there's been jokes going around about that. Even though Luka's married, he got a kid. I don't need Kim Kardashian. Like that matter.
I don't need her anywhere. I don't need her anywhere near my house.
25, like that. Like I said, oh, he's married with a kid. Like that freaking matters. But
yeah, I don't need her anywhere near my house, bro. She's good.
Okay, Steve Smith out here called slipping. By the way, I'm just saying that. So. All right. Speaking of, we can do a discuss things on Steve Smith Sr. But do you have a discuss things segment, or do you have anything prepared?
I think just TNT for the whole All-Star weekend, the production, the event, the whole showcase. I mean, you want to complain about? We already know, like, the NBA ratings aren't the best right now. And then you have all this talent in one building, and this is kind of how you parade it around, with a whole lot of too much Kevin Hart and way too much Drewski and Kai Cenat and all this nonsense. I mean, it was more of a celebrity weekend than it was an NBA All-Star weekend. And I think that's the biggest problem. Is it was less about the basketball, and it became more about the spectacle of whatever the fuck it was. So, good riddance, TNT. Y'all had a good run, but greener pastures ahead. Hopefully we can figure it out. But as much as I love the Inside the NBA guys, that All-Star weekend fucking stunk, dude. I don't know if there's a person I dislike more than Kevin Hart. Like, I'm so over Kevin Hart. Like I don't get it. Like, he has no ties to the Golden State area. He has no ties to the Bay. Dude's from Philly. Like, why are you there? Like, what are you doing? Like, I know him and Shaq kind of have a little thing going on or whatever, but it's like, doesn't he have a movie with The Rock to go make or something? Like, does he have somewhere else he needs to be? Because him in a basketball environment doesn't make any sense. So Kevin Hart stinks.
Hey, man, pick on somebody your own size, Paul.
Straight up, dude.
I'm just kidding. Some quick hits that we just kind of go over, and then we'll close the podcast. So Victor Wembanyama is out for the rest of the season due to a blood clot in shoulder. So heal up. Victor Wembanyama was having a hell of a sophomore campaign for his All-Star appearance, and led France to a fantastic silver finish against Team USA, which I'm watching quarter go. Fantastic. I got one more episode. I got to finish that up, by the way. You didn't watch that, Paul? Please watch it. I'm over here getting goosebumps watching that documentary series. Kind of was in my feelings about the Germany losing. They had to show a segment of that, and I kind of got cut deep for my match of guys. So love them guys. Bobby Portis is suspended for the rest of the regular season due to a banned substance. Pretty much, he took a pain medication called Tramadol.
Yep.
And thought it was Toradol. and the pill came from assistant. So the assistant got the pills mixed up. So put my on his drink, didn't know it. So see you in the playoffs, Bobby. Hopefully your Bucks fall all the way down to 7. So just from my Magic standpoint. So Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo is returned to the Timberwolves for a pivotal playoff push. They was out for a bit. They sit 7 in the West. So it'd be interesting to see how they look coming up here with those additions. So a lot of people are pretty much thinking about Minnesota really didn't do well in this trade. The Knicks won this trade so far, even though Paul is going through with his Knicks. So
hey, listen, I also picked them as an NBA Finals contender when the season started. So I'm looking like a real dumbass.
Yeah. Nah, I felt pretty high on Minnesota too. So I don't. Yeah, it is what it is. And then the last thing I wanted to kind of chime on, but we don't have much time. So I'm just going to add in that Golden State retires Andre Iguodala number 9 jersey. The impact that he had with the Golden State Warriors and the teams he played for. 19-year veteran who played for Denver, Philly, Golden State, Miami, 4-time NBA champ. Was a 14-15 Finals MVP, one-time All-Star. He was on the defensive team 2 times, jack of all trades, well-deserved for him. Still live to this day. Matt's line, who he would rather choose if the aliens had a beam-stranded line on Earth, was it be Steph or Andre Iguodala? He chose Andre Iguodala. We'll be dead by now. Thanks, Matt. So, yeah, but that's all we have. So I just we was going to kind of dive into deep those. I just going to hit the quick hits on that. So, Paul, anything else you want to add?
Shout out Andre Iguodala, man. What a career.
Yeah,
absolutely. And he's great. He's great, like on the media end too, man. Like he does podcasts and stuff. Like he's super great. So just gives a lot of insight. 19 years in the league is a long time. So just shout out Andre Iguodala. Who would have thought four rings and a Finals MVP came out of Andre Iguodala? Who would have thunk it?
Yep. I don't think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, but I think he'll eventually get in the Hall of Fame. Don't think he's first ballot, but I think he'll get in eventually. So we'll see.
Everybody gets in at some point.
Pretty much. So I don't think he's not first ballot, but he'll probably get in due to his impact and stuff like that. So So that'll conclude this episode. We was basketball heavy, which brings a smile to my heart. I'm always down to talk about basketball. Super excited what the NBA season entails. It's always a journey, especially now that the league, we have OKC and you have Cleveland and you have these teams that are pretty much the favorites, but it is wide open. Just never know. So super excited for what it's going to have. But make sure you stay tuned for me and Paul during the week. We'll be back at it next week. Recap some more NBA games, see if there's any sports news that come out. So we'll be all on that. So you can follow the podcast page at BOC Podcast. Paul, where can they follow you, sir?
Yes, sir. I'm on X at _Paul_Mac, and I'm on Instagram at ThePaulMac520.
All right. You can find me at N-CP on X, Twitter, whatever you call it this day. My mama called it Twitter. I'm going to call it Twitter.
Mama called it Twitter. I'm going to call it Twitter.
Absolutely. So you can also go on YouTube, find us at BLC Podcast, Instagram, BLC Podcast, TikTok, BLC Podcast, Facebook, Balls Not Court Podcast there. We're pretty much everywhere. You can get us on pretty much iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, iHeart, whatever. You can find us on internet radio station. We are on radiate.fm. So make sure you support us there and other stations over there as well too. So we do once again thank for you listening. Been a fun episode always with Mr. Paul Mac. Always good to have an hour with this guy and recollect and talk about sports, man. So we're signing off. Speaking for Paul Mac, this is Cortez Paul, Balls Not Court Podcast. Take care, ladies and gentlemen.
Peace.